Great. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's class in Microsoft Excel spreadsheet modeling. So, what are we going to discuss in today's data? Remember, we are discussing the modes of data analyzation. These are the sets of skills that we need to learn on how we can analyze the data that we have. So, today I want to show you how you can use V and H lookup in Microsoft Excel to analyze your data. So the first one that we are going to talk about to go in detail about it is VLOOKUP first. There is two here, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. For XLOOKUP, we're not going to tackle it today because I'm going to explain the reason why we can't do it today. We need to subscribe. You need to subscribe, but me, I can do it. But for the sake of today's class, I'm not going to do it with you, but I'll show you how we can do it in the next video. So remember to subscribe so that you can get updated once it is uploaded. So VLOOKUP is one of the most popular functions in Microsoft Excel, and if there is a good function that you have to know, it is a must, you have to know how to use, is this one. It is really good, one that you can add to your set of skills and to Microsoft Toolbox. So what is VLOOKUP and what does it even stand for? V stands for vertical, then lookup is just the way lookup is. So it's vertical lookup, and it allows you to look up information in the vertical list. So let's take an example. Let's imagine that you have a customer ID and you want to know the customer's name. You have a list with all the IDs and the customer's name. Now you can look up that ID and then get the customer name back, or maybe you have two different tables of information and you want to bring them together. And you want to bring them together since they are on different tables. So you can use VLOOKUP to join those two separate tables. So today we are going to start off by going in depth on how you can use VLOOKUP to analyze your data. Then I want to show you a variation of VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP where you can use lookup for information in a horizontal list, and then at the very end I will save the very best for last. I want to show you how you can use something called XLOOKUP, as I promised in the coming video. That's where I'll conclude this topic for in. Yeah, so I need you to watch it tomorrow also. So now, if all this sounds a little bit overwhelming and maybe a little bit confusing, don't worry. We are going to walk through them step by step. So let's start with VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP can be worked, as I mentioned, in two different forms. In the first one is where we have the exact match. Then in the second one, where we have number with decimals. Then in the third one, we can use VLOOKUP to search for information that is on two different tables. Okay, so let's get started now. So as you can see here, I have this table. I have a table here, this one, and it is having customer ID, the name, and the notes here. So since I have this table of information, there are 5 customers there. As you can see, the names and some notes about the customers. So in this box here, this is where I want to type the customer ID. For example, I want to search the name of the customer ID number 4, because VLOOKUP is good when you have a long list. Imagine that your accountant, after doing a financial analysis, then is presenting to you the number of customers that came through your bakery, for instance. Then they bought goods, the units they are recorded, and the profit that you made, you can have it. Now, since the list is very long and can't fit well on a A4 paper, you can do a great job there. We'll be just putting the customer IDs there and the notes, or maybe the values that you want, minus the names. So you want to award the best doing customers that came through maybe in that month that they bought a lot of things from you, so you want to give them a bonus on them. Now you only have a list of customer ID numbers. So what can you do? Since you only have a list of ID numbers, you can use VLOOKUP to search for their names in that long table using Microsoft Excel. So before we go any further, I want to take a moment to talk about how you should organize your data before you start analyzation. Remember, before you analyze data, you need first to clean it. Great. So how can we clean it and organize it? You need to make a table first. So come on this second sheet that I created, which is saying VLOOKUP make table. As you can see here, this is the raw data. It is just typed in the cells here. It's very raw, so we need to make it into a table. We need to turn it into a table. How can we do that? Making a table is very simple. You can simply come here on insert, then click on a table. Then it is going to ask you if the table should have the headers. Then click OK, because we have custom ID, the name and the notes. Those are the headers that we need. So click on OK. Great. So this looks good. We have the table now. We have organized the data. If you want, you can come here on the table styles. You can change to that color, like that, according to your wish. Great. So since we have organized the data now, so we can start the searching using the VLOOKUP function. So now let's go to the previous sheet, which is a VLOOKUP exact match. We've gone through a bunch of information about how you should structure your data before running a VLOOKUP, and that's very important, because this ensures that when we run the VLOOKUP function, we'll be running it correctly. Great. So this is why you need to make a table. And there are some cases where you want to update the table. So if you are running a VLOOKUP, then your information is just like this, very raw, it's not in the table, you are going to have difficulties when running it. But if we make a table, then we can simply add one here. If we click enter, the table is going to extend up to this far. Great. This is very good, and that's why we need to make a table, because VLOOKUP is going to search the whole table. From the whole table, that's where it's going to get that information from. So let's search for the customer ID number 4. Let's imagine that we don't know the name of this customer, so we want to have the name here. That's where we want to have it. So here we have customer ID. So come in the name here. What can we do? Watch me as I'm going there to fx, find fx function, which is here on top of the table. Just click on it. It is going to pop these functions here. Insert function. So in the first box where it is saying type a brief description of what you want to do, and then click go. Let's type there VLOOKUP, because we want VLOOKUP function to be operating. So type VLOOKUP, then click go. So you're going to have VLOOKUP well highlighted there. Once you have VLOOKUP, double click on it. Great. So you are going to have now a very good box, which is the function arguments. So this function arguments box is the one where we are going to put the data that we want to use. So let's put it a bit down here. For instance, I want to explain these functions here, these function arguments. These are the ones that I want to explain. If you can see very well, they are in two categories here. Even though they are 4, but they are divided into two categories. The first 3, they are in bold, and the last one, which is the range lookup, is not boarded. It's just plain, regular. Great. Why is the first 3 boarded? It's because that these are the requirements and they are mandate. So we just have to put data in them so that VLOOKUP can operate. This is where we are initiating the formula in. Imagine that you are calculating mathematics question without a formula. Can you arrive to the correct answer? The answer is definitely no. So we have to insert the formula also here. So the VLOOKUP value is the value that we are searching for in the whole data. Then the table array is in the table where we want that value to come from, then the column index number is where exactly that thing that we are searching for is going to come out. So in this case, we were going to select the column where we have the names, since we want the name to pop up there. Great. So on the VLOOKUP value, you can enter this form, select this custom ID that we typed in here for. Then table array, it's this table. So to highlight the table, it's very simple. Just click anywhere, for example here, then hold Control and press A. You have highlighted the table already. Then move to the column index number. Column index number is this. We can see this is column number 1, number 2, and number 3. So column index number, we're going to put 2 because that's where we have the names. Put 2 there. Then let me try to explain a bit about the range lookup. Range lookup is there to help us to define what we are searching for. If it's an exact value or a value with decimals. So if you are looking for exact value, you need to type false in here. So type false there because we are searching for exact value. But there are some instances where you are searching for, let's say, for 3.5. 3.5 is not the whole number there. Yeah, it is a half. What can you do? You can leave it blank or type true. So don't worry about it. I'm going to explain it very well in the coming video about X lookup. That's why I'm going to explain it very well. So for now, let's type false because 4 is the exact value. Then the information looks pretty good. The table is well filled. Then click OK. So you are going to see that custom ID number 4 is awesome foods. So if you come here in the custom IDs, you're going to find that truly custom ID number 4 is awesome goods. So since now we have the VLOOKUP function running, we can change here now. Let's say we identify as, okay, awesome foods, yeah, they did a very good job to us, they bought our goods, but let's say for the second one, who came second? Then they say it's custom ID number 2. So just put 2 there, then click enter. The name is automatically going to change. It's now operating. So if you have a bunch of names there or custom IDs, you are going just to type, if it's 100, just type 100, it is going to pop up the name there. If it's 3, in this case, I can just put 3 there, enter. The Acme Bytes comes there as the name of my customers. Great. So that's how we run VLOOKUP on exact values, if we have it. But there are some cases where you put the data you're searching for it, then the name is not included in the table. For example, in this case, let me put 7 there, since 7 is not there. Boom, I have NA. What can I do to make it familiar? No, NA is not familiar with me. Yeah, there. So I can come here. We need to make things right. So in the case of changing this thing, it has now moved us from the VLOOKUP basics itself to if error function. Great. So now we are talking about if error function in VLOOKUP. So if you can check on the module, on the course content that was shared to you, VLOOKUP is on top, then comes if error. Great. So this is the error that we are talking about. But what can we do to remove N or A from the information that we have, and we can replace it with what? So if error is there to make things easy and familiar with us, we can put any word that we use or any shortcut that we can understand that we use to define some terms in our case. So in this case, if error, I'm going to put it as not found, so that I cannot be having hashtag N or A, but I can have the word A not found. Great. How can we do that? I'll just come here in my formula E in the fx. So between equals and V, there I'm going to type if error. If error. then I'll need to open it, put the bracket. So as you can see here, I'm having two commands in this formula that I've typed. If error, I'm having a value, and value if error. So I'm looking for exact value. So I'm going to click on the value here so that it can identify and complete my formula there. So at the end there, I'll need to put a comma. Then I'll open it like that. Then I'm going to type not found. Then I'll need to close it. Then I'll put the bracket at the end. Then now I'm going to hit enter. Great. So I'm having not found here. So if I enter, let's say 100 here, since I'm not having it on this list, then I click on it, it's going to tell me that not found. I'm having it something familiar, not the N or A function. Great. So this is how we run VLOOKUP. Then we incorporate it with if error. Great. So if I want to change this one, I'm going just to put the number that I want. Automatically, it's going to give me the name. If the name is not in the here, let's say 84, I click on it, it's going to tell me not found. Great. So this is how we can run that quickly and we can enjoy it just like that. So VLOOKUP is very important to know, and it is simple to understand. Great. So this marks the end of this first presentation about VLOOKUP exact match values. Then let's quickly move to VLOOKUP make table.